Hello, welcome to Young Valley Leaders, WDIY 88.1 FM's newest monthly show featuring the upcoming movers and shakers in your backyard and in our community, making it happen for themselves and for our community. I'm your host, Lewis Holzman, and today I'm here with Sara Kanoff Martinez. Also, before jumping in, a big shout out to some people making this program possible. Laura Matthews with an awesome logo for the Young Valley Leaders brand. Matt Cajun live and in studio with us today here behind the camera, making this interview come to life on screen. James, Seamus, and the good folks here at WDIY giving us the time and space to bring this show alive and supporting efforts to disseminate across the website, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and social media. Sara, although we've known each other for quite a long time, but really just through the community, your younger brother was one of my friends. We didn't really know each other in that earlier life of stage. Now you moved back fairly kind of sort of recently and have we reconnected. And through that, you've doing some pretty cool things in the community here. So let's really jump into it. You're the co-executive director of Mindful Child Initiative. I guess the proper way of putting it is Pratush Sinha's foundation. Can you actually say it?
Sure. It's Pratush Sinha Foundation's Mindful Child Initiative.
Pratush Sinha Foundation Mindful Child Initiative.
Yes.
Okay.
You got it.
And
Yep.
Mindful Child Initiative is what's been kind of pushed out over this past year into the community, also known as MCI. I know that you're co-executive director, so you have Jason Sizemore, right, helping to lead the charge here. Can you talk to us a little bit about what the foundation is, what the extension of MCI is, and let's open it up there.
Sure. So first of all, thanks so much for having me. It's been great to reconnect, like you said. Known you as Ben's friend, but it's so great to see what you're doing in the community. So thank you for this opportunity.
Of course.
So I guess I would love to start with, what is mindfulness? And mindfulness, really simply put, is being present in the current moment. So not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, just really grounding yourself in the present moment, giving yourself a little break. And I think everyone deserves a little break. And what we do at the Mindful Child Initiative is we teach children and the adults who surround them mindfulness skills to help them to ground them in that present moment. So one example of a mindfulness practice is as simple as naming your breath. So I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And just a simple statement like that really helps focus your brain and calm your body and bring you into that present moment. So I think sometimes people think of mindfulness as you're sitting, your eyes are closed, and you're thinking about nothing. And that's really not that. It's really bringing you into the present moment, whatever that is, and doing that without judgment. So this is what you're doing. This is where we are. So that's what our organization does, is provide these skills for kids.
So, mindfulness sounds like it could be a lot of different things in a way.
A lot of different things.
Could you give another example or two?
Sure. So specific mindfulness practices that we teach the kids are really what to do. So there's a stimulus and there's a reaction, right? And there's a pause in between that stimulus and reaction. And instead of saying to a child or to Lewis or to anyone, hey, breathe, just breathe, take a deep breath.
Sure.
That can be kind of difficult. I think going for a run. And when you run, you can totally be practicing mindfulness. You're feeling the feet on the ground. You're feeling your breath. You're looking at a green tree. It's really a difficult thing, I think, to be mindful sometimes. But mindfulness allows you to take that break, take that pause, and notice. I can get into specific practices, but you can really turn many things into mindfulness. Coffee. You take a sip of coffee. You take 10 seconds in the morning to taste your coffee, to put away your phone, to not talk to anyone else, and to really taste your coffee. That's mindfulness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to oversimplify it, but is it just really being present within not just the moment, but within yourself and the thoughts that you're having for that moment?
Right. Just really noticing and pausing.
Okay.
And whatever that looks like, that's mindfulness.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's pretty incredible, and something that I know that I certainly can, probably most people could benefit from. And heard you just early on here mention that we teach the kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
How does kids, what is that journey? How are they intersecting with Mindful Child Initiative? Obviously, it's part of the name.
Yep.
There's children involved. How does mindfulness integrate with children's education?
So we think it's really, really important to teach children these skills at a super young age. I'm an Allentown School District alumni. I wish when I went to Muhlenberg Elementary School that I was taught these super, super simple skills. So they're science-based, tangible skills that we're teaching the kids. We currently, with the Mindful Child Initiative, we're in all 415 pre-K through fifth grade classrooms throughout the year. All
Wow.
15 Allentown elementary schools teaching them these skills.
That's got to be thousands of kids.
7,426 kids. So over 7,000 kids, again, starting at a super young age, pre-K, teaching kids really simple ways to be present. So we get a lot of data and feedback. So examples like we just talked about, I now, because of these mindfulness skills, taste my breakfast in the morning, or actually brought other testimonials. I think when we're receiving the data and we're hearing from the kids, it's amazing because it's a huge, wide range of ways that kids are utilizing mindfulness. So, for example, when I was in a math class and it was so hard, so I got in my mindfulness body, did the 5-finger breath, which is a practice we teach them. This is a 5th grade student from Ramos. Or mindfulness helps me calm down when my parents fight, 4th grade student from Roosevelt. I learned to be calm and to believe in myself when I feel like I'm going to give up. Mindfulness has made me focus more on whatever I'm doing. 4th grade student, Ramos. Or a little more tangible, it helps me in the PSSAs. 5th grade student, Ramos. So, I think it's important for I think that school is great to learn academic skills, to learn math, and to learn how to read. But I think it's an amazing place also to teach kids social emotional skills in ways that they can regulate themselves for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, it's pretty impactful because those are life skills that they use for the rest of their lives, right?
Right.
And it seems in our public education system, regardless of where that is, at least here in America, some of those day in, day of life types of skills aren't necessarily brought to you in school. It's things that you figure out in your own ways, or maybe frankly don't as life goes on. So really, really important for that to happen. And maybe you could talk a little bit about how the collaboration with the school district happened. Is it just Allentown School District? Are there other schools involved or other areas of the valley involved? Like maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure, no problem. So the nonprofit actually started in 2013, and it started in response. Prabha, our amazing founder, lost her son, Pratush, and she turned all of her sort of grief and her energy into starting this nonprofit. And she always felt that it was really important for young children to learn these skills. And so her heart and soul really was in Allentown. She really wanted the Allentown community and children in Allentown to learn these skills. So she started as an after-school yoga program. So it started with about 500 youth, which is pretty impressive for a small startup nonprofit. And it quickly shifted to also offering mindfulness education within the school day. Towards the beginning, St. Luke's sponsored the after-school yoga, and they sponsored it at McKinley at the time, Cleveland, Union Terrace, and Robb Middle School. And then it continued as mindfulness education. In about the school year 2018 to 2019, we were so grateful to find the support of Pat and Heather Brown, and they helped us secure a Safe Schools grant. And that grant really allowed us to make Prabha's dreams come true and really start doing programming through all 15 schools, piloting at different schools, starting with a 6-week program, growing to a 16-week program, going all throughout the schools. And then we also received a grant from the Department of Human Services in 2020 to continue throughout the Lehigh Valley. So it's really evolved. And like I said, we're so excited that starting this school year, we are serving every single Allentown School District child, including pre-K through 5th grade classrooms, all special needs classrooms. So Allentown has 39 autistic support classrooms. We're in all of those classrooms. They have emotional support classrooms and learning support classrooms. We also do specialized programming at Allen and Dira. So we work with young parents in a monthly lunch bunch, giving the students some self-care, some mindfulness skills for themselves, and then also for their current or future children. We're at Liberty and Freedom. We do freshman seminar classes, and then we also are with pre-K students at CSC in downtown Allentown. So it's 14 pre-K classrooms doing some mindfulness education there.
Wow. Pretty expensive.
It is pretty expensive. So we're really, really proud that we fully fund the programming in the Allentown School District. So prior, we were almost completely grant funded prior to a few years ago. And now our model is about 50% grant funded and 50% fundraising, sponsorship, and donations. So we really rely a lot on community partners, community grants, individuals, businesses, a lot of people that support us.
Yeah, I imagine so. And you're supporting the community at large like that. It's the community's responsibility to kind of support you and the mission that you're providing for thousands of people. It's pretty incredible. Certainly an evolution from when Prava started it and just herself, and now her vision is kind of being realized, and whether it's how she initially thought of it or not, it's certainly pretty incredible. What is her role at this point, or maybe how are you and Jason and the team collectively working? I was on the website earlier, and there's lots of people on the website that you guys have on your team. So
yeah.
How does that all work together? And maybe for you specifically, like what are you doing within the organization?
Prabha really started this organization, and like I said, it's grown over time, and now we have an amazing team of 22 teachers, mindfulness teachers and yoga teachers that are in the classroom, and we have Jason and I who are co-leaders. Prabha is still very much involved. She's one of the most creative people I know, so she's always coming up with new cool programs and talking to different partners and coming up with creative ways to impact our community. She does our yoga programming. She sort of runs that. And then we have an amazing office manager and social media person, and we're really... Some of our staff have been involved for 8 or 9 years and some 8 weeks. We're just constantly growing and adding people to our team. Really amazing, good, compassionate people.
Yeah, it definitely sounds all hands on deck.
Yeah, it really is. It's a team effort.
Right, and to serve a community at large like that, you need a good team around you to make that happen.
Definitely.
So, taking this back a little bit, can you talk about your journey? Like, how did you get here? Whether
Sure.
it's background or travels or where you came from or how you got into the industry,
Yeah.
kind of let you take it from there.
Like I said, I grew up in the Lehigh Valley, went through the Allentown School District, K through 12. I'm a proud Allen alumni, 04.
Go Canaries.
Yeah, so I moved to Delaware. I went to University of Delaware undergrad, and while I was there, I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I felt like I wanted to do something in healthcare. I just wasn't sure what that looked like.
Okay.
And at the time, I thought healthcare really meant like, okay, I should go to medical school, or become a nurse or a physical therapist,
Sure.
sort of the classic roles that you think of when you think of healthcare. But I really tried to experience everything. So I volunteered at 2 different hospitals in their ER. I volunteered in a physical therapist's office. Between my sophomore and junior year, I even did a podiatry camp. I was like, maybe podiatry. So at Temple University's podiatry school, I did a summer camp, which was not for me.
Not on your feet?
No, I have a friend that's a podiatrist, so like nothing against that, but no, not my thing. And then the summer between my junior and senior year, I was accepted to an internship in New York at a New York hospital, where essentially you shadow a physiatrist, which is a rehab doctor, and the residents and medical students, and you see like if that's really your journey, like really what you want to do.
Okay.
And one day I was helping to bring a child down to the MRI, and in the MRI machine, I heard a woman talking through the microphone, and she was doing deep breathing and guided imagery and just like talking the child through the procedure. So I asked the medical student I was with, like, that mom's amazing. Who is that? And they're like, oh, it's not a mom. It's a child life specialist. So I was like, what's a child life specialist? So I started researching that, and fast forward, I took some extra courses in child development and child psych and education and became a certified child life specialist.
Okay.
And what that field, it's the psychosocial aspect of medicine. So you really work with children and their families to help lessen the trauma in their hospitalization process. So you help prepare them for a new procedure or support them during that procedure or prepare them for a new diagnosis and support the overall the family and everyone that surrounds the child. So I worked at Nemours Hospital in Delaware and then at Robert Wood Johnson for 8 years in their pediatric ER. When I was there, I received my master's in public health at Rutgers, and it was an amazing, I loved being a child life specialist, and while I was there in the ER working as a child life specialist, I was using mindfulness constantly. We just didn't call it mindfulness. So I was helping children breathe through something super simple like getting an IV, or helping a mom breathe through a really tough cancer diagnosis, or I was doing guided imagery to distract a child when they were getting stitches in their forehead. I didn't call it mindfulness, but again, what you mentioned before, mindfulness can be a lot of different things, but really being present and focusing on that present moment. So when I got my MPH, I moved to Houston, which you mentioned. I think I was in Texas, and I worked at MD Anderson, huge cancer hospital, and did research there. So I was a senior research coordinator. And when I was getting ready to move back to the Lehigh Valley, I met Prabha in 2016. She, at the time, was looking for someone to help make this program evidence-based, so introducing surveys and collecting data. And so I met her, and I was like, I want to be a part of this. So I met her, started in 2016, really part-time, helping her behind the scenes, and I'm here.
Wow.
Sorry, that was long-winded.
No.
Little story.
That's great. I mean, it's your journey, and that's what we're here to learn a little bit about. Definitely uncovering some areas of the healthcare field that probably most people don't even know about. So
exactly. And I think what we're doing is it is a public health initiative. So we're providing this preventative mental health programming, which is, again, healthcare. So, again, looking at all these fields that aren't necessarily what you typically think of as healthcare.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to dive a little bit more into that here. We're going to take a quick short break here. We're with Sara Kanoff Martinez with Young Valley Leaders. I'm your host, Louis Holzman, and we'll be back soon. All right, and we're back here with Sara Kanoff Martinez, co-executive director of Mindful Child Initiative, here talking about what is mindfulness, but how does MCI work within the community here. Rolling forward, we're talking a little bit at the end about mindfulness being part of healthcare in a way, and that's kind of how you found it through your journey. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like for MCI now as we roll through 2024 into 2025 and beyond? Like, what's kind of the vision for the organization?
Our ultimate mission really is to contribute to a healthy community. So I think it's important, again, when I first met Prabha and first learned about the organization, realizing this is a public health initiative currently in primarily a school-based setting. But I think it's important to know what we sort of base our definition of health on, which is the World Health Organization, which defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So an important implication of this is the definition that mental health is more than just the absence of mental disorders or disabilities. So providing mental health supports is key in the essential component of health and a healthy community. So again, providing this blanket education across the board to every child to receive these mental health supports is super important for us. And our goal is to continue to have consistent programming. So mindfulness is a practice. So no one is going to say, all right, I'm a mindful person. I've practiced a few times. I'm in the moment all the time. I'm mindful. It's just not a real thing. No one's just mindful and done.
It's not something you do once and then you're like, all right, I checked off the list.
And even doing it every day, all day, I think no one can really claim to be mindful and done. I think it's constantly a practice. And so having consistent programming in the schools where children are not only receiving different lessons and different ways to be mindful, but it's consistent. So they have prompts. So another component of our programming is teacher support. So it's really, really important for the children to be surrounded by mindful adults and for the adults that surround them to be mindful in general, not just for in the school, but just as humans and as people. So we provide mindfulness workshops to the Allentown School District teachers twice a year.
Okay.
So it's about 1,200 Allentown School District staff currently. So we offer that twice a year, and supports throughout the community for adults as well. So really that our children are surrounded by mindful adults would be another part of our vision, which seems really simple, right? We'll just help educate every child and adult to feel more mindful, to then contribute to a healthy community.
That's so simple.
So simple, yeah.
And this might be a stupid question, but like, this isn't a competition. You can't be more mindful than another person being mindful. Like, everyone is mindful within themselves, and for their practice is their practice, right? It's
Exactly.
not like...
Yeah. And that's this whole non-judgment piece. So being mindful also is just recognizing where you are in that pause and recognizing where you are in that ground, in that moment, in that when you're grounding yourself, and then moving on. And I think when you mentioned competition, I think it's amazing in the Lehigh Valley. There's a ton of amazing nonprofits and community organizations that are really have the same mission of contributing to a healthy community. So it's really exciting to work with so many different organizations.
That's a pretty good segue here, because I wanted to talk about the networks a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, both locally here and just in some brief conversation I've had with you previously, it sounds like there's also even some potentially national type of networks and that you're involved with that's relevant here. So can you talk to those at all?
Locally, we are currently involved. Lehigh Valley Community Foundation has always been an amazing supporter of our organization, and Prabha and I are currently involved in their core fellowship, which is a 2-year equity building fellowship, and it's incredible. And actually, I encourage any nonprofit or any nonprofit leader to go on their website and look, because I think they're now there's applications for the next cohort. But essentially what it is year 1, you're doing like a deep dive into self-reflection and personal examination as it relates to equity. And year 2 is this equity building project for your nonprofit. So that'll be next year for us, which is all amazing stuff. It's amazing work. And I think the most important thing has been that you also become really close with other nonprofit leaders in your cohort. So for networking and getting to know other organizations that you might not otherwise have really connected with has been huge for us. So we're really grateful for this experience with that foundation and networking through that. We're brand new members of the chamber, so that's exciting.
Cool.
We're United Way partners. And then we're involved with the Volunteer Center of Lehigh Valley, and they recently did a project where they match us with, they match nonprofits with businesses, and you work on a project together. And so our newest partner as of last week is American Bank. So
cool.
They worked with us to build classroom kits for all 415 Allentown School District classrooms with mindfulness resources that they'll be receiving this spring. So nationally, though, yes, there's a lot going on, and we just recently partnered with U.S. Hunger. U.S. Hunger provides boxes of food for those that are food insecure, and they were seeking out resources for this mental health component. So we're currently working with them to provide some mental health supports in their boxes, which is a national initiative. We are partnering with Conscious Ink, which is a temporary tattoo company. They are amazing, and they put together some temporary tattoos with mindfulness prompts in collaboration with us, and they donate to us, and it's a great, great organization. So that's a brand new
I'm about to get that, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, put them all over your arm. And we also work with a business called Medi Teddy. They provide these adorable teddy bears that you can sort of bend them into different positions, and we teach children how to be in their mindful body, and we can sort of mimic what that looks like with these teddy bears. It's also a national brand that we partner with. A lot of different organizations, and it's always growing and expanding, and we also are supported by a lot of local funders like Trexler Trust and Baker Foundation, B. Braun, Wawa Foundation, Just Born.
How do you go out and make all that happen? That's a lot of networks and a lot of community partners for, a growing team, but still a small team.
Yeah. I think with funding in general, trust is really important, and Jason and I are really intentional about trying to meet with people and really explain what we do. Our overhead is super, super low. It's really just getting our amazing teachers into the classroom in front of children and teaching them these skills. Our program to fully fund a child for a year of mindfulness costs $56.
For a year, $56?
Yep, for the year of
Wow.
mindfulness. So when certain funders or certain grants that we're applying to put out numbers, we know exactly how many students they're able to support through their money. It's a very specific thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, for a singular child, that doesn't seem that expensive. But then when you start to break that out into a whole school district, let alone potentially expanding into others and
Right.
adults, and
Yep.
it certainly can get pretty expensive. I'm sure that adds up.
It can. We are very, very excited and grateful to see where also partnerships go. So we're working with Valley Youth House, we're working with Camp Fowler, we're working with a lot of other organizations, the Kellen Foundation, to start some programming where we're collaborating. And again, a lot of nonprofits in the Lehigh Valley have similar missions in the sense that we're just trying to make our community healthier. So that's like just an exciting thing we're looking forward to in the near future.
Well, thank you for that. That's definitely important. Is it fair to say that a lot of the focus over the past couple of years or the foundation to date has been within Allentown, but looking forward, seeing about expanding that reach into more of the valley, if not even beyond that?
Yeah, so our passion really lies in Allentown and providing supports to Allentown. We currently do offer programming in other districts. So we've been in East Penn and Whitehall and Salisbury, and we're in Bethlehem with actual school-based programming and also trainings. And we offer trainings for teachers. So we provide a workshop where we are providing mindfulness sort of prompts and practices for them, and then a manual so they can implement in their school as well, in their classroom. But yeah, I mean, we also to go outside of this school-based system. So right now we're really primarily in the schools, but my passion as with my background in public health is also to get into healthcare. So to really, the children are already learning these skills in their schools. We have this whole iconography where there's different practices that are represented by icons. To have those prompts in other areas are really important so they can be prompted to use their mindfulness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another partnership here that I'm aware of here, and I think the Morning Call just dropped a little news segment on it with a partnership with MCI and an organization called Make It Cute.
Yeah.
A little bit of a local while also national partnership and probably something pretty close to home, just me knowing a little bit of the background. Can you talk about that and what it is?
Sure. So MCI and MIC, which is Make It Cute.
Nice.
Yeah. So we connected. Like I said, I went to Muhlenberg Chexler and Alan with Amanda Seyfried and our other two friends, Maureen and Annie. I played field hockey with them and Alan, and I stayed in touch with them over the years. And this past July, they launched this business. So what it is, Make It Cute are sustainable cardboard playhouses. And the playhouses are easily collapsible, and they are visually appealing or cute.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Sure.
So they launched this on the Today Show in July, and I connected with them shortly after about partnering with us because these playhouses can serve as tangible mindful spaces for kids to go and practice their mindfulness.
Love it.
So it's a safe space. So a child's feeling overwhelmed or having a tough time, it's a safe space in the sense also they have windows and sort of these windows in the roof, so it's not completely closed in, but closed in enough where they feel safe and secure. And then our mindfulness prompts, our little posters, our little cards can be used inside of the playhouses. We just launched a sponsorship. So MIC and MCI, where people, businesses, organizations can sponsor the playhouses to go into the Allentown School District. And for every house that they sponsor, it'll also sponsor a child to have a year of mindfulness. So we just launched it, and
Cool.
a couple weeks ago, State Farm, our local State Farm, sponsored 15 of the playhouses to go in every school counselor office in Allentown.
Wow.
So we delivered that last week. So all 15 school counselors now have this playhouse with mindfulness prompts inside for their their offices.
So that partnership is effectively up and running fairly quickly here.
Up and running, and we have so many amazing ideas. The next sort of wave that we're aiming towards is those 39 autistic support classrooms. If each classroom could receive a playhouse, I think it would be so valuable for children to have this mindful, tangible space to go and take a moment. So that's sort of the next wave we're working with, and yeah, there's a lot of different ways to sponsor the programming and what we're doing at MCI.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's incredible, and definitely neat to see childhood friends coming together later in life and working on partnerships and they're still back in their community. So that's super cool. Changing up a little bit, any advice for people that may be listening, looking to get into the nonprofit or social services or healthcare fields, or maybe they're already in those fields but just not exactly sure where to turn, similar to you didn't know child life specialist was even a thing. So any advice for people to take it to the next level?
As you can tell from my long-winded answer about my journey, I think really pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and experiencing things, to try it out, to go and do that little internship that you're not sure of, or to volunteer at that hospital even though you don't know really what your role is in that ER. I think in the nonprofit world especially, passion is key. So finding a cause, a mission, a vision that you really resonate with, that makes sense for you, that you feel passionate about, is going to be key to feeling successful in your job. So pretty simple.
That's on point. The Lehigh Valley. Not necessarily MCI, could be MCI related.
Yeah.
Any best kept secrets or things you like to do for fun or hidden gems, must-sees?
I really love yoga.
Okay.
And there's a lot of great yoga studios in the area. So I personally go to Vibe Yoga and West End Yoga. They have amazing teachers, amazing community. I love to run, so I love that this isn't a best kept secret, but I love that there's so many parks and amazing places. I love running in the West End of Allentown. And I have to shout out my co-leader, Jason. So Jason not only co-leads this organization, but he runs Betterhead Kitchen.
Okay.
And Betterhead Kitchen is it's amazing. I guess it's an experience. So it's an interactive dinner party where Jason will cook in front of you, and he has different menus, and he'll give some amazing tips and tricks for vegan cooking. It's all vegan, and it's a great time. It's just a little like you said, a hidden gem.
Yeah.
He's located, I think his address is Easton, but it's out near Blue, in Bethlehem area.
Sure.
So yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. I think I actually have had some of his food that he's catered in different places. I didn't realize that was him.
That's him.
Oh,
That's Jason.
Look at that.
Betterhead Kitchen. Yeah.
Very cool. Betterhead Kitchen. So we got to wrap up shortly here, but want to make sure, how can people find you and or MCI and get in touch if that's how you'd like them to find you?
You can always email me. So it's Sara, Sara, @themci.org. We can also follow us on social media, so Mindful Child Initiative, and message me through that. We, every week, have a new practice that we post, so it's a great way to sort of learn about mindfulness, have some supports through the social media. And yeah, you can always reach out, talk about the organization, or talk about anything related to mindfulness.
Cool. Well, with that in mind here, any final comments, words of encouragement, strength for our leaders that may be listening in?
I think related to mindfulness, it's just important to pause, right? I think it can start as for 10 seconds every day to pause and be grateful. I think, you mentioned some advice, and I think it's really surrounding yourself with people that bring you joy is really, really important, and then being grateful for that. So I think every day you can start with 10 seconds to pause, take a breath, and recognize what you're grateful for. And that's what I would say is super. And then that 10 seconds can turn into a minute or turn into an hour, but I think just starting every day and recognizing what you're grateful for is important.
That's incredible. Incredibly important and very powerful. Well, that about does it. Episode 2 of Young Valley Leaders in the Books. Big thanks to you, Sara, for joining us here today and bringing valuable insight into the world of mindfulness and the value and the importance of the integration with everybody, let alone children within their education. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we look forward to any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, opinions from anybody that may be listening to this in the future. You can find this show airing live monthly on WDIY 88.1 FM the second Monday of each month at 6:30 p.m. and forever streaming with all other episodes on WDIY.org, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and WDIY's YouTube and social media channels. Again, I'm Lewis Holzman, your host of Young Valley Leaders on WDIY 88.1, here with Sara Kanoff Martinez of Mindful Child Initiative. Thanks for tuning in, and until next month, signing off.